Alright, in this video I'm going to go over number 2 from the homework because I don't want to go over number 1 or 3 or 9 because then I'm doing your homework for you, right? So we want you to be able to struggle with it a little bit. So what we're doing is we're recording the number of words in a sentence in one chapter of our favorite book, right? So this is number of words in a sentence, and then this is how many times those number of words in a sentence come up in that chapter, right? So like basically there's 5 sentences that have between 0 and 4 words, and there's 32 sentences that have between 4 and 8 words, right? And so on and so forth. The first thing we're asked to do is construct a cumulative frequency table, right? So a cumulative frequency table is just adding up all your frequencies, right? So adding them cumulatively. So start at the bottom and start adding them as you go up. So maybe I'll add two levels here just so it you can see this other part first. Okay, so this is going to be x, which is number of words, and this is just going to be x is less than 4 at first, right? Because it's going to be from 0 to 4, so x is less than 4. Well, let's go ahead and put, well, we don't want to go any further than 0, right? And so this one's going to be the 5 still, right? And then the next one's going to be between 0 and 8, right? So notice it's not 4 to 8 like this one, right? This one at 4 to 8, this one's 0 to 8 because we're going cumulatively from 0 all the way to 8. And so the number of sentences that have between 0 and 8 words is both of those together. So you add those, 37. The next one we're going to go from 0 to 12. And again, that's just going to be all 3 of these together. So we're adding 41 to this, right? So that's going to be 78. And then we're going to go from 0 to 16. And that's just going to be adding on the next one, but plus 28, which is going to be 9106, and so on and so forth. Right? You just keep going like that. Next one, adding 22, so it's going to be 128. Adding 12, 140. Adding 7, 147. Adding 3, 150. Right, and so something like that, right? And all these zeros should have 4 equal to signs on them. So this is our cumulative frequency chart or table. Next is we want a cumulative frequency curve, right? So cumulative frequency curve, we're going to have, as always, 2 axes. Down here we're going to put number of words, and the range for this, it has to go from 0 to 32, right? So I need 32 to be all the way at the end. So the way I like to do this is break this into half and then half of half. Just seems like it makes it easier. And then 8 and 4, and we don't have to mark all of these, so we'll just do it like that. And then on the y-axis, we're going to put the frequency. And we should actually label this. This is going to be cumulative frequency. And so there we need to get all the way up to 150, right? So the max we need to get up to is 150. Let's go ahead and count by tens, right? So let's just try this. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm gonna have to go higher. Oops. $110, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, and then we're basically just plotting these points, right? So we're plotting, okay, at 4, the cumulative frequency was 5. So at 4, we're going to plug in 5. At 8, the cumulative frequency was 37, so we're going to plug in 37. At 12, the cumulative frequency was 78, so we're going to plug in 78. At 16, it was 106. At 20, 16. Oh man, look, I totally messed this up, didn't I? Let me redo this axis down here. I'm not sure what I was doing. It's kind of early in the morning. That's 8. That's 4. That's 12. That's 24. That's 20. That's 28. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, 4, 5, 8, 37, 12, 78, 16, 106, 20, 128. And you should try to use like a ruler or something on your paper. 24, 140, and then 28, 147, and then 32 is 150. Right, and for cumulative frequency chart, we're just going to go ahead and connect all these with a nice, smooth curve, like such. All right. So we did that. Use your graphs to find estimates for the median and interquartile range. So the median is going to occur at the 50th percentile, right? It's going to occur where 50% of the data is, right? So for that, we need to look at our cumulative data. There's 150 total pieces of data. So it's going to occur at the 75th number, right? So I'll go in here, I find 75, which is here. And if I draw a line going straight across from 75, then I can see at this point here, that's where the 75th data point occurs. So if I go straight down, I can see that that occurs at maybe 11, right? So we're gonna estimate that the median is 11, right? And the next one said the quartiles, right? So Q quartile 1 is the 25th percentile. Right, so it's going to be, we want to know, okay, well, what is 25% of 150? 1/4 of 150, right, is 27.5, right? $37.5. So it's the 37.5th number. What that means is it's between the 37th and the 38th number, right? The quartile is between the 37th and 38th number. So here we go. We're going to go to 37.5, which is like right about here. And again, these are all just estimates for the first quartile. Like without the actual data, you're not going to be able to find it perfectly just using this chart. Going down, looks like it's about 8, right? So Q1 we're going to say is 8. Same idea for Q3. That's the 75th percent. Not the 75th number, right? The 75th percent. So 75% of 150 is 112.5. So it's 112.5, which means it's between the 112th number and the 113th number. So we go to 112.5, which is up here, and we draw all this going across. And then we try to find, okay, what number is that? So we go straight down. That wasn't very straight, but it looks like it's about 16. All right, so our third quartile is going to be 16. Next one says, determine whether there's any outliers. So in order to do outliers, we first need to figure out what is 1.5 times the IQR. In this case, the IQR is Q3 minus Q1. So in this case, 16 minus 11. Which is 5. And 1.5 times 5 is 7.5. Okay, so this is our IQR times 1.5. What we're going to do is we're going to take our third quartile and add this. So that's 16 plus 7.5, so 23.5. And we're going to take our first quartile and we're going to subtract 1.5 IQR. So first quartile is 8 minus 7.5 is 0.5. So it didn't give it to us, yes, but down here it says the smallest sentence has 1 word and the largest sentence has 31 words. So what this says is anything bigger than 23 is an outlier. Anything less than 0.5 is an outlier as well, right? So because we do have some numbers that are bigger than 23, right? Like all these, we're going to consider all of these outliers. Now that doesn't mean we get to ignore them. That just means that, you know, they're out there and that they are kind of beyond what we would expect. So they were really long sentences for whatever reason. Next is E, find the 90th percentile. So basically for 90th percentile, I'll do this down here. For the 90th percentile, we're just finding 90% of 150. Right, we want to know what number is it going to be. That's going to be 135. So the 90th percentile is going to occur at the 135th number. Again, that's here, right? So we just draw that line going straight across. The 135th number represents the 90th percentile. If you want to know how many words that is, you just go straight down. And looks like it's about 21 words, right? So 90th percentile is 21 words, which means that 90% of the sentences have 21 words or less. The last one said draw a box and whisker plot. So for F, box and whisker plot is you draw a number line, pretty much the same as this number line you have up here, right? So you're going to do 0, 32, 16, 8, 4, 12, 24, 28, and 20. You're going to plot your min, which is 1, right? So min is 1, max is 31, and I messed this up again, this should be 32. Max is 31, which is right about there. Q1 was 8 and Q3 was 16. So 8, 16, and the median was 11. So the median is right about a little bit less than 12. Put a box around these, whiskers out to that to try to make them nice and even, not slanted like mine, right? So there's the box and whisker plot. Next it says that children's books have an average 8 words in a sentence and an adult book has an average of 15 words in a sentence. State the type of book you think Nuria is reading. So children's book is 8, adult book is 15. Her average, in this case for average, we're going to be using the median, which is 11. So because it's somewhere between 8 and 15, you might say, oh, I think she's reading like a young adult book, right? So it might be, for that one, because it's between those two, young adult. They make those books for like teenagers and stuff. It's probably one of those. Okay, and then that's not part of this question. So that's it. Hopefully that's helpful. All the other questions are very similar to this, just different context.